All right, everybody, welcome in. This is your Fielder's Choice, our hit and run daily MLB show, guys. We're excited to bring you a Friday, April 29th show. And as always, I'm joined, well, I say as always, Pete, but as always, you are my Batman to my Robin or Robin to my Batman. Happy to be back with you, buddy. I know you had a day off earlier in the week that was obviously overdue. So excited to have you back here with me and talk some MLB. How you doing today, brother?
What's up, man? You can hear me?
I can hear you.
I just got a big note across my screen. Your mic is unplugged. Obviously, it's not. So, yeah. Good morning. Beginning of another weekend, right? MLB weekend.
Yeah.
I think it's week 3, 4. Week 3, I guess. Big slate, core slate. So cheap. A lot to go over. Cheap Reds bats, which I don't like. A lot to go over today. Everything's going well.
Yeah, we getting into the MLB season, one of the things that I noticed, and I was talking with some guys that we talk a lot about just, DFS sports in general, but this MLB season has been weird, man. Like yesterday, the day slate, and I think the slate before, just, it's like you really have to hammer in that pitching. Like if you get pitching wrong, you're really screwed. But even if you do, like getting the right bats, it just seems like sometimes you're trying to have these stacks that are supposed to, by the numbers, just go off, and these guys are just not hitting, and it's frustrating. It's annoying, but this might just be the new MLB climate with these new baseballs and these humidors around. I feel like baseball comes in different seasons, and this season, this is one of those ones where we gotta be smart. We have to adjust. So if you guys are joining us here on the stream, we're going to be digging through this stuff, and we're going to be talking about how these things change from a DFS landscape and how it's going to affect you guys, because ultimately we're here to make you money. So we want to be making money along with you. So yourfielderschoice.com, be sure to check it out, guys. Our proud partners with PointsBet and PrizePicks as well. We will have PrizePicks videos that are going to be coming out. I think that we have one scheduled today, right, Pete?
Yeah, 5:30.
Awesome.
Yeah, all PrizePicks. It's a short show, probably 20 minutes, half hour. But right before everybody locks, NBA tonight. I think it's a single game tonight, right? NBA, NHL, last weekend of NHL before playoffs.
Yeah, right now we're going to be, since we're covering all sports, the benefit, obviously, if you're jumping in as a premium member with us, you're going to have access to that. So feel free to jump in the chats, put some comments out there if you have any questions. If you're following along right now, hit the thumbs up and the like and subscribe to all of our socials, however you're following us on there. And of course, hit that bell for notifications. So every time we do have a video come up, you'll be sure to be able to, have access to that right away. Some of these are time sensitive. Obviously, we're talking about MLB in the morning here. We're going to be covering a slate that's going to be starting in the evening at 7:05 Eastern time. And I think it's a pretty big slate from what I'm looking at here. I could just see games all the way across the board. Well, we got 3, 6, 9, 12, 13. Does that sound right, Pete?
13. Something you brought a good point, because I've had a lot of people. It's been a tough 3 weeks, and usually things don't change until May anyway. So we get a good group of numbers in and stats. But people have been saying, well, you're on so and so on the show this morning, and you didn't play him tonight. Well, A lot happens from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. So this is what we're seeing now. We may not, So I just want to get that out there too. It's been a few times that people say, why didn't you play so and so? Because you were all over him on the show. Well, things change.
Yeah, things change. Lineups affect things. Weather affects things. Late scratches, pitching changes. There's a lot that can go on with baseball. Well, one thing I will tell you guys is, as we're building today, I definitely, with such a big slate, we're going to cover position by position. We're going to cover our stacks that we like. We are going to cover weather and some BVP. With that being said, take some notes as you're going through there mentally, or write them down, whatever you guys decide to do. But the best tool and access you can have is being in our premium discords. We do have a premium MLB chat that is essential for you to have access to myself at YFC Sports V12 or at YFC Sports Pete. We're in those discords. That's where we like to hang out and give our premium members a lot of tidbits of information. This show is free for everybody to access, but I think this is a great opportunity to mention that having this Discord, having a pulse on what the MLB slates or any sport slates are going to be is excellent. And there's things throughout the day. If you guys are daytime DFS bettors, guys, we got soccer throughout the day. You have different sports, esport, just all different kinds of stuff across the spectrum. So I highly advise you jumping in. We need to jump into this slate, Pete, because it's a big one. I'm looking at some weather. I don't know. Have you dug in? Is there anything on weather that maybe I'm not seeing? I do want to mention that the Chicago White Sox and the Angels game is going to be on there, and that one looks like to be the most problematic. According to Kevin Roth, a fellow Houston Texan guy like me, game should start with rain getting heavier late. He's saying that, they should finish it or early conclusion maybe, but the game may be a little bit soaked. So that's probably the problem area, but the winds are blowing in at 15 miles an hour. We got some winds in New York Mets game with the Phillies. KC could possibly be problematic later, which is something we definitely need to focus in on because I think the Yankees are going to be somewhat chalky today. And then, of course, Arizona, St. Louis. So it seems like they're all dealing with some storms around there. Hopefully, like I said, if these games are not going to play, they postpone them. Obviously, we have a course slate as well. So all those being said, we did talk about it being course slates, how we're going to approach those, maybe more GPP, or depending on what you want to do about separating your cash line from your GPP and single entry. So that's weather, Pete. Anything you want to add on weather?
No, that's all. That's all I see is the White Sox, and it's gonna be cold tonight in Coors with that wind. So I wouldn't be crazy about Coors.
Okay, yeah, I agree, and it's early season Coors too. I think we want to remember that. All right, we're gonna be digging in, guys. As we're going through, Pete's gonna kind of lead us through some guys that he likes at the positions. I'll throw my tidbits in there. We'll talk a little bit about ownership. That's subject to change as we get closer to lock. So we're gonna start with pitching, Pete. Big slate, a lot of arms to talk about. I want you to kind of narrow it down, kind of give me maybe a small pitching pool that we could focus in on. Obviously, some guys you're looking at for cash games and who you're going to pair up. And if you have any FanDuel tidbits, by all means, mention those. And I'll have some FanDuel pricing if you need it. So let's start with pitching, Pete. What you got?
All right, so it looks like to me, it's a big slate. No, there's only one guy that's jumping out to me. That's like a must. That's like a must or a near chalky cash play, and it's gonna be different in two sites because Montas is your cheapo, your value play on DK now. Right. And I mean, Montas has been great. He had that tough first start, but after that he's gone. Let me see, he's gone three straight quality starts. ERA of 183, a 0.66 whip, 26.4 K rate. Those last three, struck out 5 batters in every start. I mean, they're still trying to unload him. He's the last part of that A's team that they're unload, but great price on DraftKings. I just think you lock him in as your SP1 and you turn around on now going to FanDuel. He's a number one price guy. So FanDuel looks like Adam Wainwright is going to be your chalky cash pitcher. And I like Wainwright too. I think, you can probably go both of these guys in for cash on both sites. I mean, he is coming off a couple of bad starts. In Cincinnati, now he's a much better pitcher at home, and he's at Busch Stadium, pitcher friendly stadium. So I could see Wainwright being even on DK, though he's more expensive. I could see him being a cash play on DK, but yeah. I'm on Montas on DK. I really like Nestor Cortez. He does have a price. He's got a huge price jump now. He's up to 10K. I think he's the most expensive pitcher on this, but he's been lights out. I mean, he's got a 45% K rate. And the thing is with Cortez is, his fastball is only like 90 miles an hour. So he's doing this without this, everybody's used to these stud pitchers with these fastballs. He's doing it kind of like Kyle Hendrix-esque right now, like Mark Burley-esque way he's pitching. But he's getting it done right now. He's been the best Yankees pitcher since last July, averaging 11 strikeouts every 9 innings. Right. Which is I've seen his 18th best K9 among starters. So, but Cortez is probably more of a GPP play because of that price. I like McGill tonight. I like Alex Wood tonight. Wood's more of a cash play. I don't like pitching Alex Wood in GPPs, and I think Aaron Nola is a huge boomer bust. He could win a GPP for you tonight, but you can't play him in cash. He's already been beat up by this Mets team. But he's also in a good spot against his Mets team again tonight. They've already said they already thumped him, but I think he's a really sneak GPP play.
Right.
And one more. And I know this is your favorite pitcher. I just saw this pop up. It's Kyle Hendrix. Kyle Hendrix stinks but he's pitching against Milwaukee, and he seemed like he's owned Milwaukee over the years.
Yeah.
So he actually had a good start last time, and it was against the Pirates. But pitched 7 shutout. We know Hendrix usually doesn't get beat up. He's more of a, like we just talked about Cortez, but Hendrix is gonna be low owned, and he does pitch well historically against the Brewers. So I'm looking at probably Montas as my SP1, and then a little bit of maybe Waino, maybe Wood as my SP2 in cash, and then GDP's Cortez, McGill, and Aaron Nola. Oh, and their value, and then that's it for me. This kid Bradish, Orioles brought Bradish today. He's not their main guy. The main guy is Grayson Rodriguez. But Bradish is up. He's only 4K on DK. So you can use him in GPPs. Going against Red Sox. Of course, he could get thumped here, but the kid's stretched out. And in minor leagues, he pitched. I just saw him. He's pitched, 4 innings, 5 innings, and 6 innings. Last start was 86 innings. So the kid's stretched out. You should get 90 out of the kid at 4K. If you can get 10 DK out of him, the Red Sox don't go crazy for a couple innings. You got a really cheap price here where you can get some good bats if you roll like a Montas and a Kyle Bradish. A big right-hander, 6'4". He had a lot of control problems in the minors, but this year he seemed like he's pretty much figured him out this year. His control is much better. So he's not the guy. Grayson Rodriguez is their big starter prospect, but Bradish made it there first. The way he was on the roster, I guess but he's probably like my top punt dart play. And that's it.
Okay. That's fair. So I do want to talk about one game, and I want you to kind of give me what your thoughts are on this, because I think this game you could definitely look into about possibly digging in on either one of these pitchers. You have the Angels and White Sox game. You have Noah Syndergaard going against Lucas Giolito. The one reason I really want to mention it is because Giolito, his strikeout rate, man, against this Angels team that's been hot, but at the same time, these Angels bats, man, they will strike out quite a bit. They're averaging, 26% K rate against right-handers. Giolito obviously is somebody that, I feel like you can be high on him for the sense that he has a very, very good K rate and he has a lot of potential. He's had two pretty decent outings so far this season against Detroit and albeit against Minnesota. But the recipe here for me, I think that for Giolito to kind of go a little bit underowned, I personally am looking at him at $100 cheaper on DraftKings than say an Adam Wainwright. And Wainwright kind of, a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth from his last outing. I think he struggled a little bit. It's obviously an amazing spot here against Arizona. But with that being said, I'm seeing some ownership on FanDuel, 9.3K for Giolito there, whereas Frankie Montas is 10.2. Giolito's cheaper by $600 than Aaron Nola on FanDuel. And if you're just looking at it from a DraftKings standpoint, I think that's where he's more exceptional, obviously, from the a strikeout standpoint. So I like him on that side. And then on the other side, you do have a Noah Syndergaard Thor pitching here. One thing that's weird, man, is like, he's never really been a crazy K guy. He's an amazing pitcher, but I think he's going to have some success here. I think this could be a really low scoring game. I think you could definitely look at either one of these sides of the game as far as pitching. Do you have any thoughts on these?
Yeah, and Giolito is on my list. It's a problem with these 13 games. You got 26 pitchers.
Yeah, it's too many.
My only problem in Giolito, and he's one of my favorite pitchers, and he lights out. He could be, right now he's got a 16.88 K per 9 rate. The problem is he was on a pitch count last game. He's pitched 2 games this year, 61, 76. Last game was over the weekend, so he pitched 76 pitches against Minnesota, still struck out 9. He's probably gonna get you 85 pitches tonight, but once again, he can be lights out and strike out, 11 guys. So he's allowed just 1 run, 5 hits, strike out 15 this year. But once again, with that pitch count innings, you're probably only going to get like 20, 21 DK points out of Giolito. But right now, in this day and age, is probably enough. And what's Syndergaard's price? Because he's not a bad. You said he's not a bad option either. He's
right there in the middle. 8K. 8K on DraftKings is definitely somebody to consider. Looking at him he's a little bit pricier on FanDuel. He's 8.9. But I think the thing about the FanDuel pricing, actually, FanDuel scoring definitely favors him a little bit more because you're talking about quality starts, getting a win. FanDuel, the scoring is more friendly for that. So he's projecting pretty well there on FanDuel. Ownership-wise is kind of spread out on FanDuel because it's only a one-pitcher site. So, all that being said, I don't think that we're going to have any overwhelming chalk. Sorry, my dog's down here trying to dig in my trash can. I'm kicking it and hitting it. I think that there's going to be some spread out ownership on DK, which is kind of nice here tonight. So, I just wanted to mention those guys because I know you can't talk about every single pitcher, but obviously those are guys that I'm looking at that are like, they could go a little bit under-owned, but both in great spots on there. Do you think Aaron Nola is going to be okay today? You think that that Philly staff is going to get it together?
Well, I love Nola tonight as a GPP only. He's the Mets killed him the last game, but he's starting to show signs. His last start, what was his last start? He pitched 6, he pitched 7 scoreless, just one hit, walked 1, 9 Ks. Now Mets are much better than Brewers, but we know Nola. Nola is the type of guy that can totally crush your hopes or could totally win you a GPP. And I'm leaning more toward a good game tonight against the Mets. So Nola's like on my shoulders for GPP, but definitely not a cash play.
Okay, that's fair. All right, guys. So it's a lot to talk about with pitching. Obviously, if you guys are following Pete, he's going to be dropping out a top plays article sometime later today. Things are possibly going to change with ownership. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Obviously, jump into the premium MLB on our free Discord. We'll try to link that in the comments so you guys can jump right in. So let's see, guys. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with pitching. Is there a just off the wall guy here, Pete, before we move into positional that you're like, this guy's got some GPP value? He might be sneaky. Anybody that we should be keeping our eyes on for you?
To me, it would probably be the Bradish kid. As I said, but he's probably going to give him 90. And then not really. I'm not a Bundy believer. One thing I'm seeing likes Bundy staying away from that fastball. He's throwing more sliders and changeups this year, which actually is doing good. And he's not fully stretched either, seems like. So, no, I think to me, Aaron Nola is the big play to me for GVPs that is going to probably come in low owned. That's probably my guy. And McGill.
Yeah, I mean, that's super fair, obviously. I think that I was kind of looking in there. I was trying to find out some more. I was trying to read up on the Boston situation here because I see that they have Rich Hill and Tanner Houck projected. So I'm guessing we're getting an opener situation.
I think Hill's the opener.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, Hill into Houck. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and I actually do like Houck a lot. He's actually a really talented guy. The numbers really favor him quite a bit. Yeah, and then, I think, though, for super GPP purposes, one guy, I do want to mention here is just because I feel like nobody's going to play this guy, but he can absolutely light it up. He has an electric arm. If you're going to be completely like fading cores and you want to get some cheap pitchers here, you got Hunter Green. We know he's talented. The numbers show, though, that he can be a little fly ball happy here. So, but this Colorado lineup hasn't really been anything to be scared of. And I do see that we could possibly get no Chris Bryant also in that lineup. So you're facing a Colorado lineup with Connor Joe, Blackman, Grichuk, Crone, McMahon, Iglesias, Hilliard, Trejo, Nunez. I mean, that's not something that I'm really going to be overly worried about. I think Hunter Green, you can get him at sub 2% ownership, and he's only 6.5K there. So definitely a GPP dart. I think he could, he's a young kid, and if that weather plays out right, and if you feel strongly about fading Coors bats, somebody to definitely take a look at there. So
the only problem with Green is his velocity took a huge dip, and I don't understand. I haven't dug that much into it, but I was actually going to bring him up as one of my favorite GPP plays too.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't see anything on his velocity.
It's got a dip there. I got to look into it more.
Yeah, because that would be concerning because you don't want these young guys coming in and getting these tired arms, which is something you can see. Like sometimes they're overthrowing whenever they get up into the show, and then they have to sit out for a little bit. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We're going to be moving into the hitting position. Obviously, we're going to start with catcher here. Catcher first base is FanDuel. With that being said, Pete, there's a ton here, obviously. So we want to just focus on a couple guys here on that you like, that you're looking at ownership wise. I'm not seeing anything to show me that ownership is crazy on one particular player. So You have your pick. Who are your players, point per dollar, and who do you think is going to be the top place?
Probably looking at Will Smith right now if I had the money, is my top play. Even I'd rather see him on a reverse split, but I think Smith, I'm going to beat up Alexander tonight, and Smith almost 200 ISO against lefties. So probably be Will Smith as my top play. What's he, 4.9?
Yep.
Salvi Perez as a contrarian against Cortez, because you know how Perez has been crushing lefties.
Yep.
And then if not, I'm going to go all the way down to a guy like Navarez, who I think is in a good spot from Milwaukee. I could dig him. I could dig Joey Bart. I like Joey Bart a lot against Sanchez, who's a gas can. I see Zach Collins up to 4K now, so I'm not messing with Zach Collins. Eric Haase, I think, has got some decent power. I could look into Haase. And that's probably it. Because I'm looking at it right now. It's a short list, either like a Will Smith. Yeah, both is in tough matchups, really. Smith is going all the way down to like a Joey Bart, Haase, or maybe like a Navarez.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite, obviously from a pay down standpoint, because I kind of feel like that's where I'm going to be at if there's no chalky catcher. I really do like bottom of the order, obviously, but it is a Coors game, albeit, that we may look at fading these guys or whatnot. But Aramis Garcia batting ninth for Cincinnati right now, against Cincinnati. Cincinnati throws a fastball or slider roughly 90% of the time, actually over 90% of the time. And those are two pitches he actually hits quite well. The slider, small sample size, but an expected CX WOBA 491, so he should be hitting it much better. But his ISO is at 188 there with a 50% hard hit rate. And obviously he's seen quite a few fastballs from the right-handed side. 261 ISO, 57% hard hit rate there. And just to mention from a BVP standpoint, Aramis Garcia has seen Antonio Cincinnati 4 times, 2 hits, one of those being a home run. So, a little bit of history there, a little bit of a pay down option here. Maybe it's somebody that we can look at all the way down, but there's a lot of spots here, man. A lot of, pretty decent hitting catchers that we could look at. I love the Narvaez call. I'll always pick on Kyle Hendrix. Obviously, you got Zach Collins going against a righty here. Even though it's Urquidy, I'm still liking him there a lot. But, yeah, I think that you're right. Top bat would probably be Will Smith or Sal Perez for me up at the top. Is there anything on catcher that I'm missing, seeing? Anything you want to add?
Nope, I agree.
All right. Awesome, man. So catcher going into first base, obviously the same position on FanDuel. With that being said, looking at first base from an ownership standpoint, looks like the Reds are going to start coming in pretty high. A lot of guys sub 3K. You got Joey Bats here. Not Joey Bats, Joey Votto. That's the wrong guy I was talking about. But Joey Votto, professional hitter, Coors slate, 2.8K on DraftKings, coming in topping ownership on both sides. 2.9K on FanDuel right now. This could change. Tell me what we need to know about Joey Votto.
I mean, I will have Votto in some lineups because he's always been my favorite player. I mean, he's $2,800. You can't ignore it. But you also have to be smart here. And I got stupid yesterday, and I did play him. I mean, he's only batting 130 on a season. His ISO is 0.16.
Yeah.
The worst team WOBA. And Votto, yes, he's going to wake up. To me, he's a Hall of Fame player. People argue with me about that, but he's eventually going to wake up, and it could be in Coors. I could see him doing this probably either tomorrow or Sunday. I think it's a tough atmosphere tonight, but it's going to be high owned. He's going to be in play. I think CJ Cron is in a good spot on the other side, especially if Green's velocity is down. I think that's a very fair price of 5.2. He's got OPS in the mid 900s right now, which is pretty damn good. But my play right now is up top. You got to look at that. You got to keep riding that Goldie train. I mean, Goldie's been on fire, man. He's going because of Bumgarner. I mean, the last 7 days hitting over 500, 44% hard hit rate. The only thing about Goldie is, the home runs aren't there yet, really. But he's been a lefty masher his complete career. Look at these numbers. Lefties, 302 ISO, 440 WOBA, 326 batting average since last year. He should be able to crush Bumgarner. To me, he's a top player. He's only 4,700. Brandon Belt's in a good spot against Sanchez, 5,400. I think Giants can be another sneak. They're always a sneaky stack. Nobody plays them. And To me, it's another short list. I don't mind Matt Olson. I'm not messing with. I only played Rizzo at home in Yankee Stadium. I mean, that was the shortest major league, I think, home run in history. When he had that 3 homer day. They're not going out of any other park, but I do like Goldie, Belt, or I'm going to go all the way down to, I guess, Joey Votto. I mean, but if I don't play Votto, he's going to hit one out. I know it, but he just, his core is he's right now. I mean, he's bad. I mean, I see it coming this weekend though.
Yeah, and one of the things I will mention, just because it is worth mentioning when you're in Coors, if you can be a fly ball hitter, generally you're going to give yourself a shot. There's only 2 guys on that Reds lineup that are above a 40% fly ball rate, and they're both nearing 50% fly ball rate. One of them is Joey Votto at 46.3%. The other one is Mike Moustakas at 49.2%. So obviously, Cincinnati is not a huge fly ball guy, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Just Joey, if he gets the ball up in the air, he's going to give himself a shot there. Definitely. I love that the Paul Goldschmidt call. I think that he's just kind of doing his thing, and he's just going under own because, with the Cards, it's like you play them and they don't do anything whenever they should. And then they come out and smash someone. And it's like they'll smash these right-handers that essentially they shouldn't, but it's a strong lineup, man. They just have guys just that are all throughout the heart of that order that can just hit. We got guys that can run at the top of it, but Goldie's batting second right now. Edman's a great leadoff guy, or they have Carlson up there. I know that they moved Carlson down, but Tyler O'Neill, Arenado, Pujols, kind of a little bit of a resurgence here. I actually do like him a lot today too. I think if there's going to be some GPP stacks where maybe get Goldie out and put Pujols in or something like that, because you can't play them both, obviously. But I think I really like those guys a lot there. But yeah, I mean, a lot of places to go, man. Anything else on first base?
Well, actually, a BVP popped up. Alonso hits Nola well, 355 career. And then I think if I'm going to go cheapy, this Torkelson kid gets the platoon advantage against Tyler Anderson at only 2,900. So Spencer Torkelson, I think, is in a decent spot. And then Seth Brown. I mean, Seth Brown's been doing well, lefty versus righty, but I'm probably going to stay up with a Goldie. And if I go down, probably going to be Joey Votto.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely like, from a GPP standpoint, you can absolutely look at like a Trey Mancini. If he can catch Rich Hill before he gets out of the game early, that's somebody who has home run potential there. Looking at it, you talked about Dylan. I actually kind of like Dylan Bundy, but he's in a spot where I feel like the Rays can hit him, and Dylan Bundy maybe due for some regression here. So I definitely can see these Rays, Choi or Yandy Diaz, somebody like that, be able to have some success on him there. I do want to, because I saw Garrett Richards is going today, and Matt Olson, is there in the lineup. But I know Matt Olson, 4.9K here. He's in a good GPP spot. He's going to go super under-owned today too as well. So
I think that Richards may be another starter on those short starter deals too, right?
Right, exactly. Right? And that lineup's nothing to mention. And obviously from a BVP standpoint, I'll end with Yuli Gurriel, 21 at-bats against Kikuchi. He's hitting only 238, but he does have a couple of bombs off of him, 4 walks. So definitely somebody to look at there. All right. That being said, we're going to be moving on to second base, and going in from the standpoint of looking at ownership, we're projecting Trevor Story really high. Jonathan India also. India should be leading off at 3.5K, obviously, in Coors. Can't bury the lead there. With that being said, everybody else is sub or single-digit ownership on the second base position. Pete, what are you seeing there? I see Story as the top projected bat ownership-wise as of right now on both sides.
Yeah, and he's another one I think is too good of a hitter who's just started out really bad and is eventually going to come through. Yeah. He's got hits in each of his last 3 since he's come back from the IL. 3,500 though. Who I like, but his prices you get to pay for him, but he's actually earned it. Is Tommy Edman. I mean, he's earned that 4,900 tag. Now he gets Bumgarner. I mean, he's got. I just saw his slash. His slash is 323, 425, 532. 3 homers, 11 ribbies. So he's earned that. He's earned that price. If I'm paying up, it's probably gonna be Edman. I'm not messing with Story. Story needs to do something first. Brandon Lowe does get the the splits against Bundy. You know, he hits righties, so he's in a good spot. But I have my eyes really set on Tommy Edman today. I mean, that's probably my pie, unless you want to. Brandon Drury's probably going to be starting today too. I think he gets splits. Brandon Drury's been hitting well, so you're going to get Brandon Drury at it's right. He's right on righty, but you're going to get Brandon Drury at 2,900 against Sensatella, so you can do worse than Drury. And he's been a serviceable over his career. Brandon Drury did well again yesterday, so he's not going to win GBP, but I'm on Tommy Edman's my play up here. Looks like right now.
I think that, I'm definitely like, if I'm playing some Reds, it's probably going to be Votto. Maybe that catcher, we talked about him being at the bottom of the salary pool. But, yeah, I love Edman too. Has great history here. Has not taken Bumgarner deep, but obviously he hits Bumgarner extremely well here. 667 lifetime against him. He's seen him 8 times, 1167 slugging. So everything's matching up from a number standpoint there. I love if Nico Goodrum makes the lineup here, batting towards the top against Kikuchi, I really like him here because I think he's going to be super cheap. And, I'm always kind of digging in Astro-wise, but I think Goodrum is only available on FanDuel on second base. Actually, I could be wrong. He might not be available.
I think you're right. I think I was looking for him the other day, and I couldn't find him at second.
I need to find out what's the deal because he's always been a second baseman here. But maybe it's because he's not projected in the lineup here. Yeah, he's second base and shortstop eligible. So if he makes the lineup here, he's not showing up right now. So if you guys are looking at it from just a projected lineup standpoint, he's not going to show up at all. But if Goodrum comes in, he's a sub 4K guy. I like that Astros going against Kikuchi here. But I think Tommy Edman is kind of a no-brainer on that. But
Cole Wong, BVP.
Yeah. Absolutely. Colton Wong's there, someone to absolutely look at there. I was kind of trying to dig in to see if there was anything that was kind of popping out, but I mean, McNeil, he has a little bit of success here against Nola. I don't think I'm going to play him at 4.2, obviously. It seems like it's pretty straightforward there. There's not a lot that I want to just get weird with, but I think that you're right. It's Tommy Edman there. And then if not, you're going to try to find some value paying down. You can play Jonathan India. I mean, if India gets to say, what are we thinking? 30-40% owned at 3.5K in cash, you have to consider them at that.
Yeah,
and on this big of a slate, I think you have to consider anything over like 30-35% as guys that you unfortunately are going to have to try to really consider. If you're really worried about ownership, you want to consider that there. But you can obviously go a lot of different areas in a lot of different directions. All that being said, I like the Astros guys here too, so just wanted to mention that. Before we move on, I will mention that Anderson is pitching for the Dodgers here against this Detroit lineup. I know we haven't really talked too much about that. Detroit has a lot of good right-handed power, Pete. I know we haven't really talked too much about Anderson. Just to kind of talk about that, and then we'll move on to the third base position. Is there anything on the Detroit side that you're like looking at or that caught your eye this morning, or do you think Anderson's just a pretty good pitcher?
Well, I always like playing Jonathan Scope. He's starting to hit a little bit. 250s last week. He's only hitting 160 on the season, so I'd always run out Jonathan Scope in GPPs. What is Derrick Hill? I think Derrick Hill is a sneaky play.
Yeah, he's leading off too.
Okay, yeah, in this situation, so
2.1K. Outfield eligible. We'll talk about it when we get there.
He's got 4 hits and 13 at bats. So I don't mind that. But Jonathan Scope, DJ LeMahieu was another one I didn't mention. Should be leading off. But like you said, it's gonna be all about India. But I like Edman.
Yeah. Understood and agree. Moving on, we got the third base position. We're talking about a few plays here about who we're liking. Obviously, looking at it from an ownership standpoint, we mentioned Mike Moustakas earlier. He's only 2.1K. Fly ball hitter here, so definitely in consideration. And we're talking about it from a DraftKings standpoint. Looks like Rafael Devers here. They want to pick on this Bradish kid. I know you kind of like him a little bit, so this would be a great leverage spot, Pete, if we can kind of get off some of this Boston chalk here. I'm wondering if just people are mixing and matching, and that's why that he's coming up as more of a chalky play. On FanDuel, looks like Justin Turner is going to be probably the lead on the ownership. He's only 2.7K on FanDuel. Justin Turner is way too good of a hitter to be 2.7K on FanDuel. So definitely someone to consider there. What are you seeing on third base? I have a guy we haven't talked about, and I'm going to give you kind of my favorite play, and because, I like to punish myself. So go ahead. I want you to start, and I'll give you my play after.
Yeah, you got to look at Moose at that price, of course. But until Austin Riley gets a over 5.5 or whatever.
That's my guy.
Riley,
that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
And that's where I saw the name, because Riley's only 4 or 5 and Richards is opening, and then they're going to Spencer Howard, who's just as bad. So, and that's Howard's giving up 8 hits this season, 5 of them in home runs. We know Riley's a reverse splits hitter big time. So I'm all over Riley. If not, I can go all the way down to Moustakas. But it's very short for me at third base. Austin Riley will be in most of my lineups.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, if he's not chalky, great. I feel like I get high on this guy, and then I'm like, it's a perfect spot, and then he doesn't do what he should. And it is what it is that's how baseball works. But definitely love Austin Riley here, mainly from what you said, reverse splits hitter, whether he's against Howard, who's terrible against right-handers, like really, really bad, or Garrett Richards is in there. Both of these guys are going to be, very, very susceptible to the right-handed side of the plate. Riley's going to be sitting there, going to see a lot of really good pitches today, whether, fastball, sliders. He hits them all against right-handers. So love Riley today. I talked about Justin Turner being super cheap. I like him as well on FanDuel. I don't think we're going to get the same price break, obviously, on DraftKings there. But, yeah, I like it. Love Bregman here, obviously, 4.9K. He's under 5K, somebody to consider. But it's going to be hard not to play Moose there. But,
no, problem. It's so cheap.
Yeah, I know. And I will say, I was on Alec Boehm yesterday, and he wound up going yard for me. So that was very helpful here. Looks like Gio Urshela is never going to go above 3K again. So
he's hitting.
He's going to be somebody you can definitely consider.
That's a really good call. He's hitting 440 over the last 7 days, and he's hitting like 320 on the season or something, what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's totally under the radar right now.
And remember, I mean, if you're looking at it, you got Corey Kluber. He's a reverse splits pitcher too, Pete. Well, at least it's what he's shown the last couple seasons. I mean, he's much better. 245 WOBA allowed, 0.045 ISO to lefties, 356 WOBA allowed, 185 ISO to righties. A lot of hard hit balls. These guys, these right-handers, these Gary Sanchez's, these Urschelas, these Byron Buxton, Correa. We haven't talked much about the Twins. They could get really sneaky here. We all know Corey Kluber has a propensity for blowing up. So Twins might be a good sneaky stack. They're starting to climb up the list for me. So definitely like attacking Corey Kluber here, where he's been exceptional. People are probably going to stay away from him. So, yep. All right. So that being said, anything else on third base, or can we move over to shortstop?
Shortstop.
Let's do it. All right. From an ownership standpoint, obviously, it looks like Trey Turner, rightfully so, 5.3K. I feel like you're going to have some salary here at this position, so he's definitely going to be towards the top. Trevor Story is obviously shortstop eligible also on FanDuel, so he's going to be trending towards the top with Xander Bogaerts there, and then Trey Turner right underneath them. Xander Bogaerts is showing up on DK as well. And then, of course, you have a Bo Bichette sighting on there. It's good to see that kid's actually getting back to it. Me and you talked about that. I think we both like Bichette. We like that the Jays team. It would be nice for them to kind of get back on track here. So shortstop, Pete. What do we need to know?
Turner's always the top play. Good spot against Alexander. Franco is probably my favorite play. Going up against the righty Bundy, switch hitter, 57. You got to pay up for him. But I do like Franco better than Trey right now. And then you got Corey Seager's below 5K going up against the righty, but Ian Anderson, so probably more GPP-ish. Correa's under 5K, good spot, only 4,500. I think he had a good game yesterday, right? Javi Baez struggling a little bit right now, but I'm a huge Baez guy. He's always GPP play. It's tough to play Baez and cash in my mind. But it's probably going to be, I would like to get to Franco. If not, though, I mean, they're also even, Turner. I don't think you pay down really at shortstop today. Oh no, Swanson's I had a whole note here. When you play Dansby Swanson, when he gets these little streaks, and he's in one of those streaks right now, hits in 3 straight, 5 of his last 6. He had that big homer and steal last night. So yes, so Swanson or like a Trey Turner or Wander Franco. I'm not messing with too much in between.
Yeah. I'm kind of looking and digging down. I was just seeing if there's anybody that really stood out. I mean, definitely think that if you want to get kind of weird and it makes sense here because there's so many pitchers. We're not going to talk about them all, but I've never been an Aaron Savale fan, and I think that he's going here against an Oakland team. He's a kind of reverse splits also, so these right-handers could get to him. Elvis Andrus has a little bit of history against him, has hit him pretty hard. So, it's a minor history. Dansby Swanson obviously has the greatest BVP. However, at the same time, we're probably not going to, he's batting, man, it just sucks because he's always batting like ninth. So I think that's good if you're playing him in some stacks. And I think he's a great hitter.
That's the problem, yeah.
There's no reason not to play him other than lineup order. And if you're, looking at that, but Kyle Farmer obviously should be batting in the 5-hole here for Cincinnati. He's cheap. He may or may not get some ownership. I do think people are going to shy away from him because it's a right-hander. So they're not going to play Farmer here. So he's somebody we definitely were worth mentioning here, but I love Dansby Swanson, man. I think that that's a great call here. I will say that the top from a value standpoint, the Detroit guys should be cheap. You might get a really cheap Willie Castro min price here, 2.0K on there. But we did talk about it earlier. I do like the Detroit Tigers a little bit more as I kind of dig in from a GPP standpoint. And I love Javi Baez. He's a great hitter. Carlos Correa, obviously, in that Minnesota stack that we talked about. Anything on there that we're missing?
No, I think Swanson goes yard again tonight. He's streaky, and I see it.
Ooh, I like it.
He hit a bomb last night, and he'll use it. He hits them in 2-3 games in a row. Then he'll lie down again for 2 or 3 weeks. But I think Swanson may be the.
It's like he goes dormant or something.
Yeah, he does.
So yeah, man. Okay, cool. Well, I know we had somebody mention Greeny about Seager have BVP against Anderson. I don't think so. I can double check that right now, but looks like, no, he's not. He hasn't had great success. So, that could change. Obviously, Seager's a great hitter. That being said, we're going to go into the outfield position, and we're going to talk a little bit about, the many, many multitudes of plays here. We have some ownership approaching the 20% mark right now on DraftKings. Obviously, Mookie Betts, it's going to be up there. Tyler Naquin, got a Cincinnati, left-handed bat here, super cheap. You got a Tommy Pham, 2.7K. You're going to see ownership on those guys, Pete. So, I know we're not in love with Coors, but it's definitely worth mentioning there. Christian Yelich looks to be the top FanDuel play, which absolutely here against Kyle Hendrix, he's over 20%, the only bat that is over 20% on the slate. Even though he doesn't have a great history against Kyle Hendricks, he has seen him a lot. So all that being said, Pete, this is going to be tough. It's outfield. I want you to try to give me just a concise amount of plays. Who are your favorites? Maybe some guys that we should keep an eye on that are not the obvious. What do you think?
Yeah, if anybody from that Reds game, it's gonna be Tyler Naquin. I play him a lot in that platoon. You got the usual suspects. I think Stan's a good spot. I think right now Buxton is the best player in baseball. You just got to pay up. You have the money. You play Buxton. That's how well he's hitting right now. Yeah. Probably my favorite play is going to be, and he's starting to hit the ball. I think he had a pinch hit home run yesterday. Is Kyle Tucker. He's going to be very low owned against the lefty, and we know he can hit lefties. Yep. So now, he's hitting 350 over the last week, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs. Low on Tucker against lefties. I didn't realize Franmil struck out I saw something. He struck 7 or 8 straight times. That might have been 2 days ago, but Franmil's off my list for now. There's some good. I'm probably going to go back to either a Judge or Stanton. When Judge gets these streaks, Judge just keeps slamming the ball. Connor Joe's $1,500 now. Wow.
It's pricey.
So maybe I would probably lean more toward a Charlie Blackmon, but I'm looking in the middle. Nelly Cruz, GBP was against Wood, but Nelly Cruz is cheap now. Max Kepler probably be hitting 5th or 6th. Kepler's a decent spot against Scuba, only 3,400. And you got Joey Gallo, always low 3s. I just think you're going to see a lot of Naquin. You're going to see a lot of Pham, and then fill it in with a big bat. And my favorite is probably Kyle Tucker.
Fair enough. I'm actually going from the same game. One of my favorite guys is he's down there. He's still only 2.6K. Is that Chas McCormick, man?
Oh,
he's
leading
off here. Yeah. 2.6K against Kikuchi. He's already been able to hit this guy pretty successfully. He has 13.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Good call.
11 at bats. Yeah, I love McCormick, man. He's like not a guy that, I think as an Astros fan that we're like, man, we're just super, super pumped about this guy. He has, oozing with potential, but he's a really good player, man. We've been waiting for a guy that can come in and fill in, lead off position. He's got some pop, he's got some speed. He went yard the other day. He's still priced down. I think that if he's low owned, I'm like, great. Like, I'm still going to play him. I don't think ownership is really going to be a big determining factor here for me. So single digit ownership, Chas McCormick, 2.6K leading off here against Kikuchi. I really like him a lot. So I
nice
think
call. I like McCormick a lot too.
Yeah, he's a great player. I also think that another guy I'm going to be looking at, just because we kind of already talked about this game, and maybe we might be the only ones talking about it, but Atlanta, going back to the well, Marcell Ozuna, he hits right-handers really well. You can stack an Austin Riley, Marcell Ozuna. He's still priced very economically. So I think that Ozuna is only 4.1K on DraftKings. So that is going to be somebody we could absolutely consider there and look at it from a pricing standpoint. He's only 3.2K on FanDuel. So yeah, I mean, there's it's gonna be a fun slate because ownership is going to be depressed. I talked about McCormick. He's only 2.5K on FanDuel. So definitely somebody to look at there. There's a lot, Pete. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot to go over. I know you're going to have your hands full with articles and everything that you're doing today for baseball. So my prayers are going to be with you, brother. But that all being said, we want to kind of wrap this up a little bit. We want to talk about some stacks. Before we go there, anything lasting on outfield you want to mention?
No, not really. We're good.
All right.
Don J just said, Travis d'Arnaud at catcher. I guess we didn't mention d'Arnaud. And is he still cheap? He's up to 4K now.
Right now. I'm not 100%.
He's up to 4K, but
yeah, 4K.
I'm noticing Mets BVPs against Nola, but they did have that good early game in April. But I'm seeing Nemo, I'm seeing Alonso, a lot of good BVPs for the Met. But d'Arnaud's always on play. I just don't like that 4K price now. But.
Yeah, something I think a slate like this, BVP does come more into play here because there's so much to dig through that you can really see some guys that are going to be a little bit. You can make your research a little bit more concise here. So all that being said, Pete, let's talk real quick. You got a couple of favorite stacks, maybe your favorite one or two stacks, and then a low-owned sneaky stack that you like. What do you got?
Probably I may go back to the Giants again against Anibal Sanchez, like a Belt, Crawford. They're the pricey ones. And then one name we didn't mention, he's probably because Jock got hurt, and you can put him in a stack, is what's that kid's name? Luis Gonzalez. He's 3K, but he can be part of that Giant stack. So I like the Giants. I like the Cards against you got to play the Cards against Mad Bum, definitely. And the Cards are pricey though, but I think there's enough value when I say with the Chas McCormick and stuff, you can deal with it. And that's probably, and I think is probably the Rays going up against Bundy is got to be coming down to earth soon. So probably a little bit of the Rays tonight.
I love it. With that being said, I mean, I think the obvious stacks we talked about, you can go where the ownership is obviously with it, but I will go more or less just kind of like my favorite ones, not looking ownership aside. I'd love to tack Kikuchi here, obviously, the Astros, so I'm loving them. No surprise there, but definitely like Atlanta here a lot. I think Cardinals are going to be popular, but I mean, if they're not, then I'm going to jump all over them because I think Mad Bum's towards the end of his career. And then obviously, if we're just talking about super sneaky, just because I don't think that enough's been said about it, and they're going up against a pitcher who on the surface looks really good, is Minnesota, man. Maybe they can just get some success here. That'll be one of the earlier games. And maybe if you jump on them and Corey Kluber struggles right away, you can be at the top of your GPP early and start your night off good. So, I think that there's a lot of places to go here. So a lot of different choices. All that being said, Pete, give me your home run call. Give me a above 4K guy and below 4K guy. Who are you looking at today?
So my below 4K guy is going to be Swanson, like I said. My above is going to be Kyle Tucker and Swanson.
Still in my Astros. Dang. All right. So kind of looking at it, I think that my guy that, just, man, there's so many choices. I feel like picking a red would be cheating here, but I am going to go ahead and go my below 4K guy. I am going to go Moustakas here. I think that fly ball hitter, he's the kind of guy that, he's going to put the ball in the air. That's just the kind of player Moustakas is. He hits the ball pretty hard. So if he barrels one up, I like it here, whether it's Cincinnati, it's one of the relievers. So he's going to be my cheap guy today. My above 4K guy, though, man, there's a lot of different options here, a lot of places to go. Let me see. You know what? I'm just going to just say Marcell Ozuna. He's only 4.1K. I like him a lot here. I could pick one of these expensive guys here because it was really him or it was Arenado. Those are the two guys that I'm kind of looking at. I like Goldie too. Goldie's more of a line drive hitter, so he could definitely take a yard. But I'm going to say Marcell Ozuna here. I like these Braves today, so we might, I hope Kyle Tucker goes yard too. That would be great. So, but Ozuna, Ozuna's a big boy. He likes to put the ball out the ballpark, so we're going to go with him today.
You're going to watch the Arenado though. Arenado with the suspension. I'm not sure. I know he appealed it. He played last night. You just got to pay attention to that one.
Yeah, for sure. If he doesn't play, I think St. Louis is absolutely in play. They're gonna put up some runs today for sure. All right, Pete. So with that being said, man, I appreciate you coming in and joining us. Don't forget, guys, yourfielderschoice.com. Jump in. It was always, you can get in that premium access, all the premium content, the articles, the premium Discord channels, all that's available to you. This is at YFC Sports V12 at YFC Sports Pete. Be sure to hit the like and the subscribe and the bell for notifications. Pete, I hope you have a great day today, man, and good luck to you. Any last thoughts?
No, so have a good weekend. Good luck, everybody.
Let's do it, man. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Thank you.